Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Let's get open for business here on this morning's edition of Don't Sleep on the Dallas Cowboys. Because you literally cannot sleep on the Dallas Cowboys because things happen late in the evening, late at night, first thing in the morning. So you want to be up to speed with all that is America's team. Guys, in case you haven't noticed, I am excited. I have been having a ball this week. For me, this feels like old school almost because listening to Sports 980 in DC, where they've had all of the, former Cowboys and Redskin players, greats, guys that I watched growing up on, it's bringing back so many memories. So much of the good old hate week between the Redskins and the Cowboys. And understand, listen, just because I don't like the Washington Redskins doesn't mean I want to fight the Washington Redskins, okay? Part of the enjoyment of football is the camaraderie and the trash talking, the build up to the game and things. That's what it's all about. I've got friends that are Redskin fans and Giant fans and Eagle fans and stuff like that, and we talk trash. You don't have to hate somebody because they disagree with you or like something different, but you can sure ride their ass. But this week so far has been incredible. The fact that 2 days from now, 8 hours, 43 minutes, that we'll be kicking off against the Redskins. The fact that there's been over 180 of you guys that are interested in coming to this tailgate. I'm looking forward to meeting each and every one of you guys, hanging out, sharing some chicken wings and some pulled pork. I literally got 70 pounds of pork in the fridge that's going to get started smoking tonight already. Okay, so I'm getting ready for this thing. I got to get 80 pounds of chicken wings tomorrow. I've got to get all the equipment together. I am ready, and it's a lot of work and everything else. I probably won't sleep, and I'll be drinking a lot of coffee to keep myself awake and alert. But it is all worth it. Now, make no mistake, the teams themselves have been quiet. You haven't heard Josh Norman saying anything. You haven't heard any of the players trash talking or anything else. They realize that this game is really important. Division games are more important than any other game that you'll play because it's literally an opportunity to gain two games on your opponent. Okay? That's how big it is. And the one thing you have to look at with our Cowboys to say is with Dak Prescott, we have done well in our division. I believe we are 9-4 during Dak Prescott's time. I may be wrong on that. It may be 10-3, but I got to double check. But that's what you have to love about this team and Dak Prescott. Now, the great news is this is about as healthy as we have been and probably will be. Sean Lee practiced yesterday fully. He's going to be part of the rotation. And when you start thinking about having Jalen Smith, Van Der Esch, who nobody saw him being this good this quickly, a possible defensive player of the year candidate. Well, he's a candidate, but, possibly he could win it, although they usually give it to guys that get sacks. That's unbelievable. When you think of that rotation of keeping those guys fresh, you think about the rotation that we have now with getting David Irving back once he gets his legs underneath of him. You get a Randy Gregory who'll get, his legs underneath of him, and Antoine Woods, a Tyrone Crawford. You got DeMarcus Lawrence. That is a hell of a front seven. And I dare say that's the best front seven we've had in a long, long time. That is literally complete. That alone will keep you into almost any game. Um, Offensively, of course, Travis Frederick probably won't play the rest of this year. It's possible he could come back in December, and you may end up losing Austin, which is a big weapon, to injured reserve. But you got a Noah Brown that's coming back, and it'll be nice to see if he can help out some. But I really believe they need to settle in on three receivers. But with that being said, yesterday, Jerry Jones was started talking about Dak Prescott, and I don't have it anymore. Was talking about Dak Prescott, and basically said this.
Stop talking shit about our offense. Stop talking shit about our offense.
Yeah, and especially
Stop
my
talking shit about our
quarterback,
offense.
Dak Prescott. He said when you look at him versus Troy Aikman
Stop
early in
talking
his
shit about our
year
offense.
and Tony Romo hadn't even played yet. Let's put that there.
Stop talking
Understand,
shit about
Tony
our
Romo
offense.
hadn't even played a game yet at this point in his career. He was still riding on the bench.
Stop talking shit
Troy
about our
Aikman
offense.
was still fighting it out whether or not he was going to be the guy on the team.
Stop talking shit about
Remember
our
Steve
offense.
Walsh? Yeah, okay. So you had to look at this and just say, kind
Stop
of
talking
calm
shit
down.
about our offense.
I know everybody talks about Dak Prescott regressing, but Jerry Jones believes that
Stop
he's
talking
got
shit
it,
about our
and
offense.
I've gone into that to say that myself. I believe that he's got it,
Stop talking shit
and
about
that's
our
one of those
offense.
things you can't really measure. There's not a stat for it or anything. It's just you know
Stop
it when
talking
you
shit
see
about
it.
our offense.
The abuse that he takes on a weekly basis by
Stop
fans
talking shit about
and
our offense.
the media and everything else, you can know that he has a strong will. You have to have a
Stop
strong
talking shit about
mental
our offense.
capacity to be a quarterback of the Cowboys. He's got that. You don't see him
Stop
melting
talking
down
shit
the
about
field.
our offense.
You don't see him melting down from adversity. And I'm not saying that 2016
Stop talking shit about
that
our
he
offense.
hasn't gone downhill some. Some of that is him, some of that's coaching, some of that
Stop
is
talking shit about our
play
offense.
calling, some of that's talent around him.
Stop talking
But
shit
the
about our
funny
offense.
thing is there's perception and then there's reality.
Stop talking shit
I
about
haven't
our
said that
offense.
in a while, but see, you are given the perception that Dak Prescott
Stop talking
is
shit
the
about our
only
offense.
guy in the NFL that has regressed. That's the only guy who is struggling
Stop talking shit
in the
about our
NFL.
offense.
That is what you always hear. It's what we're constantly pounded. He is the only one
Stop
they
talking
talk
shit about
about
our
going
offense.
downhill. So in your mind, you hear it so many times, you think that he
Stop
is
talking shit
the
about our
only
offense.
guy out there, the only quarterback in the NFL who has gone downhill.
Stop talking shit about our offense.
Because you hear it enough, you believe it. But it's funny
Stop talking
because
shit about our offense.
when you look at Derek Carr, and I remember a
Stop
certain
talking shit
fan
about
out
our
there,
offense.
or excuse me, hater out there, who sent me the top
Stop
100.
talking shit about
Derek
our
Carr
offense.
is 60 in the top 100. Where's your quarterback? He's not in there. But here's what's interesting.
Stop
I
talking shit
said
about
to
our
him,
offense.
and people didn't believe me, or just you don't hear it. They just believe Derek
Stop
Carr is
talking
so
shit
much
about
better.
our offense.
But the funny thing was, here was Derek Carr's stats last year, verbatim:
Stop talking shit about our offense.
22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 3,496 yards for a
Stop talking shit
QBR
about
of
our offense.
86.4. And that made him the top 60th player in the NFL.
Stop talking shit about
Dak's
our offense.
numbers last year: 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions,
Stop talking shit about our offense.
3,324 yards with an 86.6 QBR. So 2/100ths of a QBR higher,
Stop talking shit about our
150
offense.
yards less in throwing. That's it. That was the difference. But the perception out there
Stop
was
talking shit about our
Dak was
offense.
down here, Derek Carr was up here. And now the
Stop
Raiders
talking shit
are
about our offense.
basically fire sailing everybody. Derek Carr is actually on the trading block.
Stop talking shit about our offense.
But here's the thing. When you look at his numbers
Stop talking shit
from
about our offense.
the last 3 years, he went from a 96 to an 86 to an 88 QBR.
Stop talking shit about our offense.
Right now, check this out: 7 touchdowns,
Stop talking
8
shit about our offense.
interceptions, 1,700 yards. Dak, 7 touchdowns,
Stop talking shit
4
about our offense.
interceptions, 85 QBR.
Stop talking shit about our offense.
How come nobody talks about Derek Carr, who
Stop
seems
talking
to
shit
have
about our
melted
offense.
down, completely
Stop talking shit about our
melted
offense.
down?
I don't think I've ever seen that expression on Derek
Talk
Carr's
about
face
only
before.
Dak
Stop
Prescott's
talking shit about our
regression.
offense.
Hell of a job you're doing with his team, John.
You haven't seen Dak Prescott
Great job.
Stop talking shit
do
about
that
our
on the
offense.
field in the face of adversity. And the other thing that drives me
I
crazy
don't think I've ever seen
Stop
that
talking shit
is
about our
when
offense.
people start talking about
Hell of a
how much to
job
pay
you're
Dak
doing with his
Prescott.
team, John Gruden. Great job.
We shouldn't pay him more than $5 million a year. He's not worth crap. There's a lot of quarterbacks that are
Stop
overpaid.
talking shit about our offense.
There's not a lot of quarterbacks out there that are quality. More than likely,
Stop talking
Derek
shit about
Carr
our
will get traded to somebody else, maybe the New York Giants, and he's making
Stop talking shit about our offense.
$125 million contract, 5 years, $25 million or so a year. Yeah. Dak Prescott's making under $1 million.
Stop talking shit about our offense.
You got Bradford sitting on the bench, not even active, making $20 million a year. And that doesn't even need to be part of the discussion at this point because you need to at least wait until the end of the year. But when you see what you're getting here,
Stop talking shit about our offense.
you see my point? The things we have going on with Dak
Stop talking shit about our offense.
happen everywhere. Everybody thinks that every single pass is going to be right here.
Stop talking shit about our offense.
Watch film on every quarterback in the
Stop talking shit
NFL.
about our offense.
And I challenge you to say how many passes are exactly right here every single throw. And the funny thing was, I showed a highlight of a back shoulder fade to Michael Gallup earlier this week,
Stop talking shit about our offense.
which was Michael Gallup was completely covered, okay?
Stop talking shit about our offense.
The pass went to the back shoulder. So Gallup stops, turns around, and catches the ball where only he can get it. Defender is right here. By definition, that's throwing a guy open.
Stop talking shit about our
Some
offense.
fans don't understand the concept of play calling or terminology. Because the comments I got was, he underthrew the ball.
Stop talking
Like,
shit
no.
about our offense.
The guy was never open. He threw him open. Then I've had other times where I've shown highlights of the Rams where a guy literally has 5 yards of separation. And I show this clip. And I hear people say things like, he threw him open. No, the guy was open. What throwing open means is a guy is covered, but you throw it to a spot where only he can get it. So when we look at some of the comments from some of you fans out there, at least know what you're talking about when you make a comment so you don't look like an idiot. That's all I ask. At least understand a term before you try and use it. Got it? All right. That's my boy John. Definitely need to take this. I will see you guys.